All right, looks like just about ready to go here. Copy link. And share link. Hey, somebody has joined. Wonder who's here. Give me 1 second. I'm just setting up some music. And hopefully it won't kill the feed. Can you hear me okay? Now, present to everyone. What's that mean? I'll let you use mic. Let's see. Maybe there's a setting for this. Let me see how to do that. See what could be causing that. Enable live chat, enable slow mode. Bingley, do you need to maybe change your microphone settings? That's nice. All right. Hello, testing. All right. Do you think that it's, I can see when you type in your chat in Hangout, I can see that text. So if that works for you, we can do that. I'm not sure if it's a setting on my end or on yours, though, that's getting in the way of you being able to talk. I haven't seen anything that suggests it could be something I can control. So I think, unless you'd like some help trying to figure out what's up with your mic, I'm going to move on to the definition of design, unless you are. Would you like some help figuring out your mic? Okay. Well, let's see. Oh, let's see. Unmute. Holy crap! I don't even know. I guess I'll have to copy and paste your username. for audio is not muted. Okay. Um, hmm. Hello, Yuri. Okay, so since I can hear Yuri, Jingli, I'm going to have to say that it's a setting on your end that's keeping you from being able to talk, and not on mine. Okay, let me close out Malwarebytes because that seems to keep wanting to run. So the feed's okay and everything?
Yep.
All right. Well then, before I get to drawing, let's take a look at some definitions for the word design. Okay. What have we got? To prepare the preliminary sketch with the plans for, especially to plan the form and structure of. So, a work to be executed. Sketch or the plans for work to be executed. That sounds like a good candidate. I'm pretty sure it's going to be a verb. Well, we'll see. To plan and fashion artistically or skillfully, that's included, but is more generalized than that. To intend for a definite purpose. It is. I mean, it is intended for a definite purpose, but I don't know if that works in that context. Pretty sure it doesn't. And we're going to need a noun probably, but finish checking the verbs. Okay, to form or conceive in the mind, contrive, plan. Man, it works for that too. To assign in thought or intention, purpose, yep. To make drawings, preliminary sketches, or plans, yes. It even includes, it brings in new means of using drawings in order to create solutions. So yeah, we're doing that. To plan and fashion the form and structure of an object. Yep, that's what it's meant to be about doing. An outline, sketch, or plan as of the form and structure of a work of art, an edifice, or a machine to be executed or constructed.
So I have a question. Why are you talking about design in this way?
So I started, because that's where I started, and that, I mean, it's the eventual goal. The new stuff like really just started happening and taking form over the past couple days. So, you know, referring to it as a theory of design may be a misnomer now. And what to call it, you know, what to change the name to, I'm not sure. But it's not something I'm going to get too hung up on, though I would like to at least have a working definition for design, for sure. I mean, I don't know. I think to an extent, I'm not too concerned right now, at least, with what to call it. I think what to call it is a conversation that needs to be kind of a continuing thing right now, just because it's evolved. It's so early in the evolution of the theory. that I can have days where I realize some new concepts, and this thing grows a little bit.
All right, so can you tell me what this thing is? Because I have no idea what you're talking about.
Yeah, well, so I don't either, and I think after looking over the definitions, I mean, I think I'm just going to set aside the part about the name for now. And so what this is, what this at least started out as and still is, but I'm taking a kind of a, 1 second. I'm taking a little bit of a long route to get there, just for the time being. After I read a couple of papers that are really exciting, but they're also just crazy abstract and high level. Anyway, so all right, the big thing is that, let me change this back to my camera. So the big thing is that the way we create things right now, the way we measure the success of our creations is lacking in certain concerns. For one, we tend to sometimes intentionally, sometimes unintentionally make things that require too much of our attention, and things that are addictive, as well as things that don't preserve human connection, and also things that know how we feel. We don't have a lot of good, well-defined ways to make things that don't have those issues, or that are able to know how we feel. Now, the last one's may sound a little weird to be trying to plan for, but I started working on all this like maybe 6 weeks ago, which was 2 weeks after a paper had come out about how to make a device that's consumer grade, would cost less than $200 to build or sell, and can recognize human emotion wirelessly through walls and for multiple people at a time, and does so at a baseline of about 70% accuracy.
Wow, who's the inventor of the technology? Like this has to be pretty hardcore, like machine AI stuff.
Yeah, so there's a machine learning component to it. The device and the team is called EQ Radio. They're out of CSAIL at MIT, and the address I can punch in a chat. It's just eqradio.csail.mit.edu. So, yeah, that's a huge thing, and so that happened. And the paper identifies how to go about doing it. And it's not even the machine learning side of things that's new or interesting for the most part. What's really big about what they've done is they've made a device that's accurate enough to replace on-body sensors for performing the data collection. And that's the big issue. And then it's simple to train as well. And once you train it for an individual person, now the percent accuracy shoots up to about 90%. And that's really exciting for me because I identify as an information addict. And I don't mean that, like, you know, the same way that an internet addiction isn't actually the internet that's addictive, it's behaviors that define the addiction that are actually the problematic stuff. And so same thing with information addiction. It's behaviors that involve playing with information in different kind of ways. For me, it was information gathering and consuming, as well as analysis and synthesis. So like there was a point over the past year where for a few weeks I noticed that like the conversations I'd been having for the past few weeks, whenever I started them, I was always pitching an idea. And I was being selective about who I had those conversations with in order to maximize the chances that someone would engage and contribute to the idea. So I was addictively seeking out, on the fly brainstorming sessions with people. And that was
okay. So I know a lot about this topic and what you're talking about. I have a PhD from Harvard.
Okay.
And I'm a scientist.
Yeah.
Now, Rojusan Roaming in the Bad Peaches channel, he is like an amazingly experienced artist.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was watching your conversation earlier with him.
Yeah.
And I was having a hard time understanding what you were trying to get across at all.
And yeah, that's something I've been having to work on, is just how I communicate and getting clear with things.
So anyway, what you described sounds quite interesting to me. However, I think you need to really work on how you present it to other people.
Oh, totally. Absolutely. Right now, my head's just floating in all these abstract ideas. And it's part of the reason why I wanted to do this right now is I've written something that's also, it's not simplified for, like, I need to edit my shit basically to bring it out of the language of all these, like, out of the language from all the research papers and into just layman's terms. Because I mean,
right, to present it to the public or like the general audience as opposed to these specialists.
Right. And I mean, designers and artists are exactly who I'm trying to reach for this, like product designers and programmers as well, because, well, I mean, they're the ones who are going to be developing the things that can use emotions. And
hey, so what kind of technology do you need to implement this as a useful tool for the common person?
Like what's needed for the project, or for if you wanted to, say, have that device, what would you need to do? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, I'm asking what would be required to implement this for application to the public at large, the common person.
I would need to get further along in what I'm doing, because while what I'm developing doesn't need the device, it can benefit from it, but that's not required to start practicing what I call mindful design. And so, I mean, the basic stuff is like the end goal for all this is a set of practices that people can implement in their lives to various goals along the lines of.
Oh, hey, I've got a whole bunch of stuff to tell you that I think you would find really interesting.
Okay.
I just need 1 minute break before I can come back.
Cool. I'm going to take 2 minutes and get more water and smoke real quick. All right, I'm back. You there? It's not. Oh. Because it's a virtue, and always being cool. So it came time to fight. I thought I'll just step aside, and that the time would prove you wrong. And you, but I know some reason these stars begin to call a mystery. To defend. If it's not now, tell me when would be the time she would stand up and be a man. For to lose I could accept, but to surrender I just wept and regret this moment. All around, I don't know, let's begin for mystery.
Alright, I'm back. Can you turn your sound down, please?
Yes. Can you still hear it?
Now it's pretty quiet, so that's better.
Okay.
Yeah, so all right. So I got a couple questions for you. Are you working with the MIT Media Lab, or where are you based out of?
No, I'm in Seattle. Okay. So I'm going to be reaching out to UW, different labs in UW. Though I am looking to get in touch with the EQ radio team as well.
All right.
There's more to what I'm like. The theory of design is like, that's one thing I'm working on, and it ties into this other stuff which is related to my recovery, and that is to experimentally expand applied behavior analysis by introducing emotions as signals into that field. And I'll be doing that with the help of the behaviorists I've been seeing for the past year or so. And that's why the EQ radio is something we want to get our hands on, or something like it. Anyway.
All right. So there's one guy that has a YouTube channel that I think you would just, it's not directly relevant to what you do or interested in, but I think it would be incredibly motivating for you. And it's a channel. The guy's name is Jay Mansell, M-A-T-Z-E-L. M-A-N-T-Z-E-L. Mansell.
Okay.
And this guy is just amazing. So he started out as a university student in Ontario. And then he moved to Vermont, I think it was, and built a dome house and built a giant robot and lived there for many years, got married, had a couple kids. And then he decided to move to his own island, and he bought an island in Panama. And he moved to that island, and he lives there currently with his wife and $2, and he puts out videos like a couple times a week, and he's the most amazing guy. You would find him incredibly inspiring, I think.
I agree. Like there's like it looks almost, I haven't watched any of his videos, but I've been watching something called Primitive Technology, and it's this guy in Australia.
I've seen every video that guy has ever made.
Yeah, fantastic. Is this like that except a little bit more modern?
This guy is better than him.
Awesome. That's exciting. Yeah, thanks for pointing me to this.
I only say he's better because he's done way more stuff than that guy.
Yeah, totally. I am seeing that. It's like philosophy and crap like that. Philosophicistics. All right.
Hey, if you want to see the very best video, like the one that'll blow your mind, look for, I think it's called Robot Infrastructure Project or Robot Infrastructure.
Oh man, it's gonna be awesome because I have pages of notes on my own thoughts on robot infrastructure.
Yeah, well, okay, well, this is
Mad scientist infrastructure.
Yes, mad scientist infrastructure. That's it. And there's 2 videos that he posted on that topic that will just blow you away once you see them. Your mind will be blown.
Man, this is 10 minutes. But are you on the East Coast?
Everything's cool.
Yeah, I'm on the East Coast, but like you don't have to watch it right now. But like, watch that in the future because you'll just be like, you're just gonna go like, oh my god, how could a human do that?
Awesome.
And it's actually got nothing to do with technology at all. It's everything to do with like, no technology.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly what. Oh, okay. So I can't wait to see these robots in. This is exciting. Cool. Yeah, thanks, man.
Well, anyway, the robots are technology, but all the stuff that he does to make everything else possible is just him doing dirt work in the field. He's like, he's like the farm laborer, only he's the guy that does like the work of 10 people.
Gotcha. Cool. All right. So I will check that out. Did you have other questions?
Yeah, well, I'm still not entirely sure what your project is about. I haven't fully understood it yet from the description you gave me.
Yeah. Okay. Real quick, just want to confirm. You said professor of philosophy from Harvard?
No, I'm a chemical biologist. I am a scientist.
Oh. Who got a PhD in something from Harvard?
That's me.
Right. And you got it in what?
Chemical biology.
Okay, cool. All right. Thanks. That was the missing piece of information. Cool. All right. Let's see then. All right. So the way we make technology right now, we've got tech we've got a few like persistent problems that are systemic in our technology. It requires too much of our attention. It's addictive in most cases, just depending on the person. And there's nothing preventing addiction. In fact, we typically design towards it, even accidentally. And we also don't really know how to preserve human connection well. And we don't have design processes that inform us on these things. And on top of that, we don't have a design process that informs us on how the hell to safely and responsibly use emotions as an input into anything. And my hypothesis is that that one way to address those issues is to infuse what's currently what I know of as design thinking with mindfulness practices. And mindfulness practices have like a very everybody's got their own idea of what mindfulness is and what isn't a mindfulness practice. And I have my own, but I can also take my definition and I can lay out symbology for it, right? My concept of mindfulness has syntax and semantics. And so I'm developing that and taking a look at it from abstract mathematical perspectives and looking to see how to, I think I've found math, and what I'm starting to draw is the math that says, here's why mindfulness, by this, whatever definition that's in the theory, that's given by the theory, here's why it's a solution to this problem. And so, yeah, it's all about mindfulness practices, how to craft them for different contexts, how to track success of practicing them, and how to do it both on an individual and collective level. And I don't mean collective, I mean, sure, you could do it theoretically, collectively, like a community of people or people living in a city. But I just mean like a design team, any kind of team working together.
Okay, so what would the product be? What would the service to somebody be? What would the actually, the right question is, what is your value proposition to any person that might want to use this?
Okay, great question, man. All right, thanks for asking. So let's talk about how we measure success of whatever it is that we create right now. The way that we do that is based on the costs associated with whatever it is that we created. And that's time and attention and money, essentially. Those are the lenses we typically judge and measure our success. Number of page views, daily active users, length of time spent watching advertisements. That's how we measure things right now. If we can agree on that, then cool. The rest will make sense.
I agree.
So whenever we measure something as a group, like an industry measures something the same way, and an abstraction, like a level, we can drop through a level of abstraction and start measuring closer to our needs. Every time we do that in an industry, all it takes is for one or two organizations to start using this other way of measuring things that's closer to our needs to start, the avalanche of companies that are going to start shifting the way they do business to that end because it's more profitable. An example would be.
Right. So wait, everything that you've said so far is just theory. I haven't heard a product idea or like how you would reduce this to practice or how you would convert this into something useful to other people.
Okay. All right, so this can be used to re-envision any invention already in existence to better serve humanity.
Yeah. I'm sorry, but
that's a little spacey in language.
Yeah. I'm just bluntly honest and say that is, you're sitting in theoretical space and you are not actually working on something practical, something that can be reduced to something useful for other people, and that very few people can actually understand.
Yes.
So that's a problem. That's like nobody's going to be able to use it.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And that's why, this is very early on. I haven't really been talking to anybody about this. And it's, that's exactly what I'm working on through conversations like this. It's why I'm starting to do, why I wanted to do these Hangouts in the first place. Because
hey, and that's fine, and I'm totally okay with that. I see where you're coming from. You have the essence of an idea, but you haven't yet distilled it into something useful to others.
All right, here we go. This is a framework for hacking your own mind and figuring out how to go about changing. This is how I change myself and how I reprogram myself. I am an addict in recovery, and that means that I need to retrain how my brain has learned to do things for 20 plus years. And it's a tricky thing.
So out of interest, would you be willing to tell me what your addiction was?
Sure. It wasn't binary. So my withdrawal symptoms started when I stopped letting myself look things up in books. I'd already been offline and not touching devices for 2 weeks.
Sorry. What did you say the chemical was?
Oh, it's not a chemical. I stopped, or I guess you could say dopamine, but I stopped looking things up in books. I had...
wait a second.
Information addiction.
Okay, so you're basically saying that you were addicted to the rush of information, dopamine.
When I had a new idea, a question without an answer, or an answer that needed confirmation, I would compulsively respond to detecting that need by doing something, usually Googling. But I didn't have to use Google. I could also use books. So we've got online and offline approaches to the addictive cycle, as well as these are all things I can do with people. And so I can ask people questions, and I can do it compulsively. And I can talk a shitload and compulsively just like keep on doing it, like slipping into lecture mode almost. those were the essential behaviors I exhibited, and like very few others on any given day. And I had to, I mean, once I started trying to address the behaviors, that's when I finally entered into withdrawal. And for me, because my addiction isn't binary, like drink or don't drink. And in fact, I didn't know what my behaviors were to begin with. It took 9 months before I was able to sleep through the night, uninterrupted by extremely vivid dreams. So for 9 months, I'd wake up 1 to 3 times a night. And so, yeah.
Okay, so, all right. So I'm also an information addict.
Most PhDs that I've met would qualify, except that they've got, see, I would get stuck, and I would never, production wasn't part of my addiction. And so I didn't produce. But, sorry, continue.
All right. So I am I'm frankly a pretty extreme information addict.
Okay.
And so I'm constantly looking for information, whether it's politics, science information, business information, whatever. I interact with a lot of people, and you know, to tell you the truth, I don't find information itself to be a bad thing. I've also spent my own personal time, you know, either smoking pot or, you know, way back in the day, taking acid, or, you know, doing, you know, other drugs that are real drugs that actually cause problems for people.
Right.
And I'm not saying pot's bad, and I'm not saying acid's bad, but they can be bad for certain people, yes.
Oh, totally. Oh, yeah.
So I'm having a hard time relating to this concept of being an information addict in withdrawal / recovery when you've never been like a you know, chemical substance user.
Oh, I totally have. I mean, I'm 33 going on, yeah, I'm nearly 34 years old. I have smoked pot for years. Since I was 18, I very quickly went from straight edge and sober to, as soon as I graduated from high school, I started smoking pot, selling it, as well as selling ecstasy, and yeah, did that. I've done cocaine, LSD, mushrooms, and a few other things. 2CI, don't ever do that. That's no fun.
Yeah, so do you think that your information addiction actually has something to do with the other things as opposed to just information?
With the drugs, you mean? When you say has something to do with them, I would say yes, but
yeah, I would say, do you not think that the drugs are a causal factor, or?
Oh, definitely not. The drugs weren't around for the first. I mean, I think I probably started developing my addiction when I was 12, if not younger. Depending on, I haven't really gone back to look at what my gaming habits were before I was 12. And yeah, so I need to take a look at that. But I mean, there's more than just information here. It's um, you know, loads of other addictions. And whenever the digital side of the addiction wasn't getting met, wasn't well maintained, then you'd find me doing drugs. So yeah, I think in that case, they're totally a component of it. I mean, ultimately, the issue was that as a kid, I was sexually traumatized multiple times, and I'd been telling myself for decades that it didn't traumatize me. I'm one of the lucky ones that got off. And then in April, I came out of denial. I challenged that assumption, and as soon as I said the words, this traumatized me, like my emotional state shifted dramatically. I became just like terrified and anxious and yeah, it was rough.
Okay. All right. So there's some other stuff going on here.
Oh yeah,
it's not just information addiction.
No, but that's the context that I'm getting to play in now, is recovering from it, which means a lot of behavior modification. And so I'm getting to learn I'm an information addict getting to who has pointed their addiction in towards itself.
Okay. Anyway, so the YouTube guy that I linked to you earlier, or told you about earlier, you're gonna love him because he's also a philosopher, and he's got a really interesting philosophy on life. He's basically abandoned the Western world and is just doing stuff on his own. And he lives on his own on an island in the middle of nowhere, and he doesn't give a goddamn shit what anyone else thinks. And he's getting funded through the internet.
Nice.
He has a Patreon channel for crowdfunding. He has thousands of subscribers to his YouTube channel, so he gets money from that too.
Right.
And yeah, he's like a super interesting guy. I think you would like totally love this guy, and he'd be the right sort of person for you to learn about at this time.
Awesome. Yeah, he sounds like I would like to take a look at what he's doing, because I've been trying to figure out how the hell to fund all this. I mean, there's standards, like, there are grants and stuff, and I'm sure the people at the university we're hooking up with had their own thoughts and suggestions. But I was definitely looking at crowdfunding because this is something that I don't want to patent. I don't want to copyright it. This is something I want to openly work on and publish and collaborate with others, and yeah, it's really weird and grandiose, and it's odd to be in a position like having these ideas, recognizing that like this could just be a bunch of bullshit, and yet maybe it's not. And talking to people and getting expert thoughts on what I've been saying, and it's something that needs to be examined, but if it's not just bullshit grandiosity at play here and I'm onto something, then it's too big for me to be willing to lock up into a patent or some bullshit like that. So I think crowdfunding in that situation is probably worth taking a look at.
Well, the only way you're ever going to get crowdfunding is if you can convince a crowd of the worth of your project. And you have not shown to me thus far that you're able to communicate the essence of your ideas in a elevator pitch, like a one sentence.
Right. And I mean, I agree. And that's something that that's what I'm working towards, right? Like, what I've been doing is discovering this thing. Yeah, I mean, like, probably in a couple weeks, if not less, elevator pitch will be something I can do.
You need to distill the basic concept of what it is that you want to do into like 2 or 3 sentences maximum.
To be clear, why?
Because first impressions. Whenever you're making a first impression on somebody, you have one shot at it, and they make judgments based on a whole bunch of weird things about anybody in a given situation. But they make a first impression, and that impression lasts. It's persistent. It holds. So you have sort of one shot to convince people when you first meet them. And that is what's known as, in the business world, what is known as the elevator pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And so the concept is that you're on an elevator, you have the length of time of the elevator ride to convince somebody that you are doing something amazing. And to ask them to invest in your, effort, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So the basic concept here is learning how to pitch to people. And in order to pitch to people, you have to define and refine and simplify your ideas into a form that anybody can understand.
Right. So part of, I would say, like, the past 6 years, maybe, I've been pointing my info addiction at the startup world, at design and technology and startup businesses, startup culture. So yeah, I definitely agree. That's like, I do definitely need to work on my elevator pitch for sure. It's only today that I've connected, that I think that, like, I connected 2 big endpoints. And so part of why I wanted to do this was just to start drawing out some of that path. Because I think I can illustrate a lot of the concepts easier than I can change language just right now.
A picture is worth 1,000 words. If you can draw a picture, then that's awesome too.
Yeah. And so it's easier for me to take this route of, first, here's like the crazy abstract side of things. And then, okay, let's make some pictures. And from the pictures are the translation, like a part of the translation process from my abstract thoughts to something that's been distilled and that I can easily pitch. Because I can pitch, I can write an elevator pitch. Those are definitely things that I'm...
All right. Are you willing to allow me to be extremely direct?
Yes, please.
All right. So first of all, you're wearing a fedora.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with Reddit and the whole Fedora meme that is the heart and soul of Reddit?
The Fedora meme I'm not.
Okay.
I know that people have strong feelings about fedoras, and I wouldn't be.
So the entire website of Reddit is like extremely biased against anybody that wears a fedora, like in a really bad way. You would be amazed how many photographs and images there are on this topic.
Well, I've seen plenty. I just wasn't sure of like what it was at Reddit. I mean, I guessed, but.
So, well, Reddit started out as a community of founders of startup companies in Silicon Valley.
Yes.
So, and it was a startup itself, and it became, gloriously successful. They were one of the ones that made it.
Right.
So I'm just saying, okay. All right, I'll tell you the following about myself.
Okay.
So I am 50, and I've had, well, I'm on my, well, it's hard to define. I've had one startup before, and I sold it. And I live in Canada now, but I lived in the US for 20 years. And I now do angel investing. So I see companies pitching all the time. So I've actually got an enormous amount of experience in this area.
That's exciting. Yeah, I thank you for letting me know that. And thank you for any and all input and feedback.
All right. And now part of my being totally really honest and blunt is, are you wearing the hat because you're going bald? Because I'm very bald, and I'm proud of it. I wear it like the Picard. I wear it like Jean-Luc Picard from Deep Space, from Star Trek.
I am balding, but I have no problem not wearing the hat. I simply.
I'm just telling you, the hat is a liability.
I know. Does it help that it's signed by George Takei? I don't. It's a bit.
Oh,
now.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, that's. So, I think that's awesome.
This is it's a special hat to me. I mean, people can dog fedoras up and down.
I'm just saying.
I know.
If you show up for a business pitch and you're wearing that, I would just like immediately reject you.
Oh no way! Once I
Yes, okay. First impression.
Yeah,
I made my first impression the moment I looked at you.
So, one way. Oh yeah. Well, I'm going to be getting a new hat whenever I start actually pitching, and that'll be my pitching hat.
Well, put it this way, like me myself, if I ever wear a hat, it's a baseball hat.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because I'm trying to signal that I'm a common man as opposed to an elite.
I gotcha. I probably won't go baseball cap. I don't know what it is I'll go with. And if I can't figure anything out that seems to make sense to me, I'll do this.
Anyway, I just wanted to make you aware of that so that you're aware of how other people perceive your pitch.
maybe I need to make a T-shirt that says, I don't know, something like, "Don't hate the fedora because George Takei." I don't know, something ridiculous. Anyway, okay, cool. So,
no, here's what it should say. Takei says the fedora is okay.
that is what the shirt. Okay, so 1 second. I need to make a note because that's what the shirt needs to say. Takei says, or said, the fedora is okay.
Takei says the fedora is okay.
Awesome. And any particular spelling, or does that flip it around? Takei says the fedora is okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much right.
Yep. Cool. Thank you for that suggestion. That's helpful. And that's just fun. Even if I don't use it for pitching.
Like, his signature on that, on the fedora.
Right. Oh, yeah. That will need to be. I'll definitely do that. If I pitch to anybody wearing that hat, that's going to be the way that I go about doing it. But, yeah. And I need to go get a haircut, or at least get it trimmed and get somebody to show me ways to play with it, change it up.
Yeah, when I was about your age, that was when I was also starting to get bald. And, at first, when I was younger, I had the feather down the center. And when I got to your age, I started doing the comb over. And then I just got to the point, it's like, F it. I'm just going to cheap shear this mofo and never care about it again. And I've been Picard ever since.
Nice.
And let me tell you, it's free not worrying about your hair ever again.
I do not doubt that one bit. I've got 33 years of not caring about my hair under my belt, though. So that one's an easier one for me to handle. It's easy for me to wear it out, however, without a hat. That only came in the past year or so, though.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, it's like, yeah. I've been there, sort of done that. I've been through all that. That's my experience with it.
Cool. I appreciate that. Any other direct bits of feedback so far?
The other direct stuff would be that you're not precise enough with your words and text on the Internet Relay chat channel. And be prepared to get abused by me and others.
Okay. That is fine by me. Because I need practice being more specific with things. I mean, hell, that's my head right now is just floating around in the abstract, and so I need that practice grounding myself. And yeah, so please do, by all means.
Oh yeah, so please don't get too upset if you see me saying something really fucking crazy and nasty to you in chat if you're still in the channel.
Okay.
That may happen because I say all kinds of crazy stuff.
That's okay. Yeah, I've got no problem with that. Part of the things that I've been doing, especially with respect to IRC, I had to set some ground rules and boundaries for myself in terms of how I would roll, and so far it's been going well. I'll get sucked into a couple of I've gotten sucked into like a little bit of a petty back and forth bullshit thing, but in general I've been practicing this way of communicating that's been really helpful for me, especially when it's a really useful way of communicating through conflicts. And so basically I've approached IRC as one big conflict. And so I'm having to, whenever I interact with IRC, I need to be using this means of communicating. And that's how I handle the hard shit that others.
All right. Do you want to know where I go when I'm like bored and want to have fun?
Where do you go?
Pound politics.
Okay.
And I do battle in pound politics.
That sounds like something I would do in the past.
I destroy people in there.
Yeah.
That's what I do for entertainment.
Let me know next time you're doing that.
Oh, I do it every day. So
Okay.
You have to be a channel member to appreciate, what I do there.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and sick my ZNC on that channel so I can.
Oh, by the way, be careful what you say in there. You're gonna get like attacked as an individual. Like you are going to be attacked. So
yeah, I'm
ready.
Yeah, I already. I don't engage with politics right now. That's just not a thing that would be healthy for me. So it's fine. I am merely going to observe in pound politics for the time being. That's like, for me, that's hard mode practice. That's like nightmare mode practice for this way of communicating. And it's called nonviolent communication.
Oh, I'm totally open to both violent and non-violent communication.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, like, I was too, and I still can be. I'm just looking to practice this new form, and I'm content with just kind of watching for now. But when I'm ready to just kind of test myself in terms of nonviolent communication, I think I could probably plot like a set of conversations to have in various channels where it's like progressively increasing difficulty level and like how triggering is this conversation to me sort of thing. And politics would be, it'd be education and politics up at the top, probably. Philosophy of science. I bet I could get into some crazy philosophy of science flame wars.
Sorry, I'm just replying in pound politics. So anyway, the best advice I could give you is, first of all, you need to know what you're dealing with in bad beaches.
Okay.
So it's a collection, a selected group of people from a whole variety of channels all across IRC on Freenode. Right. And every one of the people that's there is pretty much, I don't know, hyper intelligent about at least one topic. You know, whatever that is.
Awesome.
And so people like Roger and Roaming, that guy is an amazing artist.
Do you have any links to stuff he's done?
You would have to ask him for that. But yes, he has lots of links and websites and, you know, stuff that he's worked on. You know, I'm not going to link his stuff to somebody else, but if he wants to share it, so be it. But he's like a really fantastic artist, and he really understands arts and culture in a major way. He's also very knowledgeable about everything else that everybody else is interested in, including science, politics, books, movies, you know, everything. So there's lots of people in the channel that are, like, every person in that channel is a pretty extreme person, I would say. Extreme in one way or another. And that's what makes the channel really interesting, because there's like super interesting people.
Yeah, I mean, most of the conversations that I've seen in there so far been really interesting. I've been digging the channel. Was there a reason that that you wanted to highlight that?
I'm just pointing out that, oh my, how can I put this? The folks in that channel are all extreme people, you know, whatever it is that they're extreme at. So be prepared for extremeness.
Okay. Do you have a specific example in mind in terms of extremeness I may face that I might need to prepare for?
Well, for example, let's imagine a scenario where you're involved in an argument with me.
Okay.
I will set you up. I will say things to you that will make you say certain things back to me, and then I will mock you relentlessly for the stupid response that you gave to that whole series of events.
Okay.
And I'm not the only one like that in the channel.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm familiar with the technique. I appreciate the heads up. I think it'll be really interesting.
By the way, I see you just asked Road to Sand for links.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, I'm not sure that's going to work.
Okay.
The reason I say I don't think it'll work is because you should have developed a relationship with him before you asked him for his private info.
Gotcha.
Like, I haven't even gone that far with him yet. And I've been in there for several weeks.
Okay. Well, I've been practicing just being direct. And that's not to say that you're wrong by any means. That's also something that I need to practice more is how I connect socially with others. And in fact,
I think the most important thing is to just be honest with people, and then they recognize that you're being honest, and then they like you because you're honest, and then they trust you because you're honest.
Yeah.
That's my general approach to life.
Same here. And it's that level of authenticity that for me just says, well, and this is just like, this is the thinking that I go through right now is simply that, oh, well, I'm interested to know more about this guy and his work because I just heard about it. And so I'm gonna ask, and well, if it doesn't get results, then it doesn't get results. And if it does, or if it upsets someone, or I cross the boundary, then I can address it then and go from there. But I like practicing. It's a new thing that I'm practicing, is just trying to directly and upfront make direct and upfront attempts to meet whatever my needs are that I think, well, things I need, I need, or that would benefit me. So I'm curious to see how he responds to that. It'll be interesting.
My guess is that he will not respond at all.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
The other thing you should know is that a lot of the regular folks in there are also wordsmiths. And I'm one of the people that tries to be a wordsmith. But it's, it's all based on use of language, puns, double entendres, onomatopoeias, all the various language plays that you can imagine.
That's my kind of people. I enjoy pontificating as well.
All right, so you said you live in Seattle area?
Yeah, east side, so like I live in Kirkland, next door to Redmond.
Okay. I used to have a girlfriend out of Portland, and it's a little south of you, but
yeah, just 3 hours away. Portland's great.
Yeah,
I'm a fan. But yeah, I live out here, and
I've got a lot of friends in Vancouver, Canada.
I've yet to go, but
Vancouver, Washington.
Yeah, I need to get my passport updated and go check out BC.
Oh, for sure, dude. You know how many Americans live within like an hour of the border and never visit Canada?
Really?
Like an enormous number, like 90+% of Americans.
Man, we're some isolationist shits.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know this because I lived in the U.S. for 20 years.
Yeah.
And I spoke to tons and tons and tons of people on this topic. It's like, oh, where are you from? Oh, from Minnesota. You ever been to Canada? No, never been. And I'm just like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it is a little surprising. I grew up in Louisiana. I mean, I only moved out here about a year ago. And we're like that, except with the state borders.
Wait a second. You grew up in Louisiana? You have no accent.
My grandmother on one side, like, taught English and diction at the university. And so my mom didn't have an accent. And my dad took her class, which is how he met my mom. So he worked out some of his accent. And yeah, I didn't pick up an accent early on in life because I didn't have too many people around who had one. And then in my teens, I hated that accent.
The universal accent. You've got I'm the neutral voice that could be anywhere from the Midwest or Canada or somewhere else without any of the strange accents.
Yeah, I think it happened by accident. I don't know how, though. I mean, I know that I intentionally avoided taking on the Cajun accent because it hurt my ears. Just made me... I just heard stupidity every time. I heard that for a long time. Because Cajun accent's awful. Or I used to think so. Now I can appreciate it.
No, I actually appreciate Southern accents. They're kind of cool.
Well, I've since April, one of the things that I've kind of been practicing and that led to some interesting changes in my taste of things was I started learning how to abandon my judgments. And, you know, well, I'm an addict, so the way that I learn is I go to the extreme end of the spectrum of something, and then I have to learn to moderate and dial it down in recovery. So my extreme was, well, abandon judgments on all the things, period, all the time. Not necessarily the best strategy for living, but, you know, start with the fire hose and learn to filter, basically. And that started applying to, accidentally, it started applying to food and music and TV shows or movies, and apparently now also accents. So like I've
all right,
I can enjoy Cajun accents now.
Sorry, what kind of music do you like listening to?
I enjoy all kinds of music now, including country, which is definitely not something I could have said a year ago. Same thing goes for Cajun and Zydeco music. The music I currently listen to, for the most part, is either classical instrumental music or like instrumental, Chinese instrumental music, but I'm looking for other, you know, global cultural types of music that are instrumental.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And the other big thing that I listen to is what I was listening to earlier. And I use that I use this one specific album as a mindfulness practice for basically for what I call ego death, like killing my ego. So
what's the album that does that?
That is by the Flaming Lips, and it's Yoshimi Battles the Pink Robots. And I can...
Yeah, I know the Flaming Lips.
Copy the album. There we go. I just pasted the album link into Bad Peaches. And so, yeah, I started out using one of the songs on that album as, so it's a set of mindfulness practices, each song is, and I started off using one of the songs as a tool for cultivating, for learning how to allow myself to feel joy, and specifically to feel joy to the point that I cry. And so the way it works is I get in the car and I'm driving, start listening to the song, and I basically I make a music video in my head to go along with it, and by embedding really meaningful stuff into the music video, that that allows me, and while the video goes on, I make sure to pay attention to how I'm feeling in my chest, and I also sing. So that's another signal, is if I get choked up. And if that happens...
You want to know what album does that for me?
What's that?
Moby Play.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh my God. That album kills me. It totally...
I forgot about that
Correct.
album. Yeah. Oh, I haven't listened to it in years. I'm gonna listen to that tomorrow. So yeah, so I each time I listened to it, I would tweak the visual storyline, and like total amount of joy I'd be feeling at different points go up and down, but be trending upwards until finally one day, I was so happy that I was crying from that video that was in my head.
Yeah, it's actually a really nice experience when you watch or listen to music and watch a video that makes you cry. Another one that does that, I just saw it the other day for the first time, and it's called Take Me to Church, I think.
Oh yeah, that song's great. I haven't seen the video.
Oh my God, the video's brutal.
Really?
Yeah. But that's like a really amazing song, and in the video context, you just look at it and you just go, oh my God.
I'm gonna have to check that out. Yep. So yeah, that's the kind of music that I've been listening to, is that album, and then instrumental stuff that helps me focus for the most part. Though earlier tonight it was Rock Lobster and Love Shack.
Yeah, that's old for me. That's like 20, 30 years ago.
Oh yeah, me too. But I still enjoy it.
All right, so an artist that I really love and is a foundational core part of my whole music mind is Frank Zappa.
Yes, Zappa's awesome. I went to Cleveland, I forget when, like 5 or 6 years ago, for this like 3-day seminar on something. But second night I was there, I saw that, what was the name of the band? Shit. I forget the name of the band, but it was basically like a Mothers of Invention tribute band, starring like, and it contained all the current living members of the original Mothers of Invention. It was fantastic.
Oh, wow, that would have been really good.
Yeah, it was great.
Like, you would have had the real music.
Yeah. And so I went. It was, I mean, like, fuck yeah, I'll go see this band for $20 in a club that's not even, how is this place not packed? Like, it was awesome. So yeah, you are talking my language when you talk about Zappa. The dude was crazy prolific.
Oh, Frank was a genius. the guy was not just a musical genius. He was, you know, smart in every way, shape, and form about every topic that he ever spoke about. And he was not, he was informed about everything that he spoke about.
I've seen several videos of him, I think, like on Crossfire and different shows, political shows like that.
Yes, I've seen that video, and I've also seen his interview with William F. Buckley, and I've seen, you know, all the interviews he did. I searched every Zappa video there was.
Nice. I have not looked for enough of his interviews. That could be something I stand to search around for. So what is it about Zappa that pulls you in?
I don't know. It's his originality. He's, you know, he makes most of what he does up from scratch, and it's really good. He's incredibly original, and for me, that is the definition of, you know, a great artist. You know, somebody, and frankly, Prince is similar. Prince falls in the same category as Zappa, only he's not an intellectual the way Zappa was. You know, he's an amazing musician who's incredibly original and incredibly inventive. But, you know, he's not, like Zappa was a guy that could work on every level. He was not just a musician. He was also a political commentator. He was a political protagonist. He did lots of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, I completely agree on both counts. I mean, yeah. Both of those guys made a whole lot of crazy, unique contributions to music with their own. And yeah, Zappa, I mean, Prince, I think mostly kept to himself, and just like did his own thing.
Yeah, well, he was kind of like an introvert, where Zappa was more of an extrovert.
Yeah. That sounds about right. All right.
Anyway, I think I need to go to bed. So,
yeah, there's one here too.
So I need to say good night and good luck.
Thank you. I think I will save the drawings for tomorrow. But this was an excellent chat, and thanks for having with me. And once these sketches are done and I've got something, well, shit, like I'm gonna keep doing this, so I hope you'll just join me up. You know, keep coming for the ride, because it'll get better, especially and more.
All right. So as far as my advice for how you interact with the channel, take it a little more slow and listen carefully to what other people are saying, so that when you do speak to them, they will recognize that you understand what they've been saying.
Okay.
That would be my advice on the channel anyway.
Thank you. Yeah, I haven't really, I appreciate that. I haven't really had much of a thought in terms of like how to actually break into the group and connect. So very grateful for that bit of advice.
All right. I might spend a few minutes fighting on politics and then crash.
All right. Well, enjoy. I don't think I'll be around to witness it.
That's all right. Take care.
You too. Good night.